Hello guys, today we are back looking at our, I think it's 110 scale truck here that we got from Banggood for our review. And in the last video, if you remember correctly, we had just got all the mechanical parts assembled, but we had a problem that when we tried to power the motor, the wheels were spinning in opposite directions. So what we're going to do today is, first of all, fix that problem, and then test out our wiring with using one of our little controllers here. So that's the plan for today. Okay, so just to remind you about our issue with the wheels here, I'll just power it up so you can see the wheels spinning. You can see that this wheel was spinning in this direction and this wheel was spinning in the opposite direction. So I think what I can do is just unbolt this axle, flip it upside down, and that'll solve our problem. So that's what I'm gonna try and do. Okay, so that's the axle spun around. So unless I'm very much mistaken, our wheels should be moving the right direction now. Yep. And judging by how quick that is, 3.7 volts is more than enough voltage for this. So our little board should be able to handle this without any difficulty. So you've all seen our little board before. We've kind of miniaturized everything down as small as we can. But because this is so big and we have loads of space in here, I decided I'd just expand this little board into a 2.54mm header. And you know, I've been thinking that maybe I'll make a little adapter board for this, so you could just solder this little board into it and it would have all the header rolled up in 2.54 for maybe if you wanted it to do it for testing, or if you wanted to wire something like this, or even if you had a combine. You know, these little boards are useful for stuff other than 132, but when you're in 132 you really need something as small as this. You don't want it to be too big anyway. So I have all the header here that I need. I've actually more than I need, and I've extended a few of the wires here and put little connectors on them, so I'll wire it up and we'll try it out. Okay, so if I've everything wired up correctly, we should see the signal thing there just increase. So here we go. That's a good start. So we clearly have signal. Let's see, do we have drive? I think that's a problem in the code. I did notice that beforehand. We have our steering. So I have them plugged into the right wires anyway. That's a good start. We don't have lights. I have that one wrong. Let me try it just the other way around. There we go. So now we should have dip lights, full beams. So that's it. That's the only lights we have. So obviously I need to sort out the alignment of the steering. That's a software problem, and figure out whatever's causing it not to reverse. But I do know that when I did this code on the Ford County model, I tested this out first because it's basically wired exactly the same as this truck. I noticed that it didn't have forward either, so I need to figure that one out. Okay, well, I got that problem solved. It was an issue with the code, actually the library for the controller here. I actually think I've done that before. Maybe I've done it in the Ford County video, but anyway, for some reason I didn't save it, so once I started looking for the problem, I kind of figured out what it was pretty quickly, just from kind of memory. But basically it was turning off and on the wrong pins on the expander chip on the board below, and also I just set the limits on the steering servo, so that's fairly simple. So now have all of our control here, so forward, reverse, our left and our right, and you have your headlights there. So not hugely bright, the headlights, so but anyway, this is a fairly fast truck, this. So luckily enough we have our lower, so we can just put it into low 1. That could be a nice control over your speed then. Back up for. So it looks like 3.7 volts is a good voltage for this motor here that's in this truck. Or well, it's a good voltage for the motor driver that we use in this chip, which will be quite efficient. So probably if you were to use off the shelf RC components, you might want to go for a 7.4 volt battery, because there would be a little bit more loss in you know, your standard RC off the shelf things. So you might want to consider that when you're getting these components. But really, if you're doing it that way, you know, bit of trial and error, no big deal, you get it worked out. It's not going to be the end of the world. I mean, you're just plugging and playing with stuff. You don't even have to do the programming or anything like that I done on this chip. So wouldn't be a big deal if you wanted to go that other route. You wouldn't have, well actually you would, because I was going to say you wouldn't have the speed control, but I actually have a controller that I have for like an RC airplane or something, and you can go in and you can set them. It's not as simple as just hitting down 2, but that's only because, or maybe you could program it to some buttons on the controller or something, I'm not sure, but that's only because this is designed for us making these vehicles. Like, I wrote the code so that we could control all these little tractors and things, so you know, being able to switch from low to high pretty quickly is pretty useful when you're trying to navigate a trailer or something with a little RC tractor. So this looks to be working great. At the weekend I'll bring it out and see if we can climb a few things, or just see what can it climb, and yeah, we'll just try it out properly in the real world. So if you like this video, make sure and hit the thumbs up button, and if you have any comments or suggestions, let me know below the video. But that's everything for today, so thanks very much for watching.